In today's presentation, we will be exploring the depths of digital intimacy through algorithms by focusing on Deborah Chambers' reading, Networked Intimacy, Algorithmic Friendship, and Scalable Sociality. Let's start with a quick introduction. Age of social media, our understanding of friendship and intimacy is undergoing a profound transformation. Chambers delves into the shift, focusing on how platforms like Facebook commodify personal connections, turning friendship into a valued currency. This digital era brings to the fore the concept of algorithmic friendship, where relationships are not just about human interaction, but also about how they are mediated and shaped by algorithms. Chambers' exploration is not just an academic exercise, but a critical inquiry into the fabric of our social lives. Her goal is to bring about a more fair structure where people understand the value of their data and are able to have a say in how it is used, criticizing the current information and economic model. So let's start with the conceptual framework. In this slide, we are exploring intriguing facets and concepts of our digital existence. The way that our friendships, intimate relationships, and personal ties are changing in this late modern period. The term late modernity refers to the historical period, which is characterized by swift technical progress and significant societal transformation. Deborah Chambers, in her insightful work, brings to light the transformation of intimacy, suggesting that we're moving towards what's termed elective intimacy. This concept is intriguing because it suggests that our relationships are increasingly a matter of choice, shaped by our desires for compatibility and mutual interests, rather than bound by traditional societal structures or geographical proximity. Chamber delves deeper into the ways that individualism and privatization, two fundamental aspects of our urbanized societies, have brought in a new era in which personal networks are carefully selected and chosen according to personal preferences. She contends that this change is closely related to the development of communication technology, which enables us to preserve these individualized private ties over long distances and time zones. Moving on, let's explore a concept that's become integrated to our online interactions: algorithmic friendship. As we engage with platforms like Facebook, our social landscapes are subtly shaped by underlying algorithms. Chambers brings this to light, revealing how these digital architecture influence who we connect with and how we maintain those connections. Facebook, in particular, has been at the forefront championing friendship as its core. Yet, as Chambers articulates, this is no mere social feature. It's a strategic engineering of sociality designed to foster openness and sharing. But at what cost? These algorithmic interventions commodify our friendships, turning personal data into lucrative asset for marketing and data analytics. This engineered connectivity, though it brings us closer in some ways, also presents a paradox. It challenges our traditional notions of intimacy, transforming private connections into public spectacles. It's a double-edged sword, offering us the illusion of closeness while commodifying our most personal experiences. Now we will look at the key ideas that Chamber talks about in her reading. Here, we will look at the intriguing world of digital intimacy, starting with Facebook's role in reshaping our understanding of personal connections. Deborah Chambers, in her insightful analysis, highlights how Facebook has commodified the concept of friendship, turning our personal relationships into opportunities for data collection and targeted advertising. Now, think about the last time you received a friend suggestion on Facebook. This feature, powered by sophisticated algorithms, not only suggests potential connections, but also subtly influences the dynamics of our social interaction. Chamber critically examines this algorithmic friendship where our social circles are partially curated by a machine's calculations. But here's where it gets complex. While Facebook promotes a culture of sharing, pushing us towards more public displays of intimacy, it also blurs the line between what's private and what's public. This shift challenges our traditional boundaries of personal relationship. It's fascinating, yet somewhat alarming, how a platform's design can redefine our social practices. Forward, we will now investigate the intriguing contrast between private and public intimacy in the digital sphere. According to Chambers, social media sites like Facebook have changed the way we communicated with one another by encouraging us to share every aspect of our lives and blurring the lines between what is private and what is appropriate for public consumption. Though it encourages connection, this open culture raises serious concerns about the sincerity and depth of these carefully selected friendships. On the flip side, we see a contrasting narrative with apps like WhatsApp. Chamber highlights how such platforms offer a haven for more genuine, intimate exchanges shielded from the public eye. This distinction between the regulated intimacy of WhatsApp and the public displays promoted by Facebook recalls the themes of readings that examine the effects of digital technologies on our social lives. In a comparable way, Butcher's investigation of the algorithmic imaginary on Facebook challenges the ways in which these algorithms influence our social interaction, often without our knowledge. This tension between public and private spheres of intimacy invites us to reflect on the evolving nature of friendship and connection in the digital age. Moving on to the more intimate settings of WhatsApp, we encounter a different facet of digital intimacy termed scalable sociality by Chambers. WhatsApp, with its encrypted messages and user defined groups, embodies this shift towards personalized communication. It's a platform where we can choose the scale of our social interactions, a stark contrast to the one size fits all approach of more public social networks. The idea of scalable sociality not only highlights the importance of user agency, but also underscores the adaptability of digital platforms across diverse cultural landscapes. For instance, in the context of other readings, we see how digital intimacy is negotiated differently across cultures and how platforms like WhatsApp can cater to these varied needs, promoting a more inclusive form of digital interaction. As we reflect on Chambers' insights, let's consider the broader implications of scalable sociality. It's not just about choosing whom to talk to, it's about redefining the boundaries of our digital selves, crafting spaces where we feel comfortable and genuinely connected. As we explore into the cultural and social ramifications of networked intimacy, it's important to recognize the vast range of cultures that penetrates our digital relationships. The way we express and experience intimacy online is not monolithic. It's deeply influenced by our cultural heritage and societal norms. This diversity in digital intimacy offers an endless perspective of the ways in which technology interacts with cultural identities. Now that we're talking about digital intimacy, it's important to have a discussion about trust and privacy. Managing privacy settings becomes a complicated movement as we reveal more and more of our lives online. Cultural norms and personal boundaries play a big role in this game. These challenges are not specific to any one platform, rather, they are present throughout the digital world. When we have to sort through an abundance of systematically generated suggestions and algorithms to determine the legitimacy of our digital connections, trust also becomes a very valuable commodity. Finally, Chambers urges us to reflect on the profound impact of social media on the very fabric of personal relationships. The introduction of networked intimacy has challenged traditional paradigms, ushering in new dynamics that demand adaptation and critical reflection. This redefinition of relationships, mediated through screens and algorithms, echoes the broader discussions in our course about the intersection of technology and human connection, urging us to critically evaluate the future trajectory of our social bonds in the digital age. Here we will connect Chambers' reading to the concepts of the course and the other texts we examined. In this slide, we dive into the fascinating intersection of algorithms in our social lives, particularly through the lens of social media platforms like Facebook. Butcher's study reveals how we encounter and interpret algorithms, often unconsciously shaping our online interaction. This algorithmic imaginary not only influences how we perceive our digital connections, but also molds the very algorithms that govern them. It's a relationship where our expectations and experiences with these digital entities shape our social fabric. Shifting gears, let's look at a case study. Let's consider the portrayal of algorithmic intimacy in popular culture. Black Mirror offers a compelling narrative that mirrors our anxieties and curiosities about the future of human connections in the age of algorithms. This speculative fiction underscores the complexities of quantifying relationships and the often unsettling normalization of digital technologies in our intimate lives. It prompts us to question the sincerity of connections forged and maintained by algorithms, echoing concerns similar to those raised by Chambers. Moving from fiction to reality, the datification of intimacy, especially through platforms like mobile dating apps, represents a significant shift in how we form connections. These platforms commodify intimacy, turning personal interactions into data points to be analyzed and monetized. It's a stark reminder of the tension between personal agency and the algorithmic mediation of our social lives, further complicating our understanding of modern relationships. In conclusion, as we navigate this digital landscape, it's crucial to critically examine the nature of our algorithmic mediated connections. The evolving dynamics of privacy, publicness, and the very essence of human interaction in the digital age demand our attention. Are we moving towards a future where genuine connections can thrive among algorithmic governance? Or are we just entangling ourselves further into a web of datafied relationships? This discussion opens up broader reflections on the implications of living in an increasingly digitalized social world. Finally, the conclusion. As we wrap up our exploration of digital intimacy and algorithmic connections, let's reflect on the key insights. So, first, let's look at algorithmic influence. We've delved into how algorithms shape our social landscapes, creating an algorithmic imaginary where our interactions on platforms like Facebook are both influenced by and influence these underlying codes. It's a dance between user behavior and algorithmic prediction, shaping the very fabric of our digital interactions. Moving on is media reflections. So, through our case study, Black Mirror, we've seen a mirror held up to our digital societies, revealing the profound impacts of technology on human connections. These narratives aren't just fiction, they're cautionary tales that echo our reality, urging us to critically examine the depth and authenticity of our online relationships. Number three is datification of intimacy. The transformation of intimate connections into quantifiable data through dating apps highlights a commodification of personal relationships. This shift brings to light the tension between the convenience of algorithmic matchmaking and the loss of organic human connection. And lastly, a critical assessment. Finally, we've prompted to question the sustainability of these algorithmic mediated relationships. In a world where privacy and publicness are continuously redefined, we must consider the future of human connection in an increasingly digital age. To sum up, our exploration of the world of digital intimacy challenges us to consider the sincerity of our bonds and how technology affects the actual fundamentals of human interactions. Thanks for listening.